We're in open session, Mr. President.
Mr. Steinberg, you're about to wrap it up.
Well, Your Honours, I was going to respond to my learned friend's objections unless they are overruled.
Go on.
Your Honours...
Sorry, Your Honour, would it help in that case if I just repeat my objection in the public session so context can be placed?
No need to repeat.
Okay, I'm grateful.
In the first instance, the prosecution has been trying to put on record evidence which we say points towards the proposition I put to the witness. The defence has objected, it's been MFI'd, the prosecution will prove it in due course. The witness has also confirmed being in contact when I discussed the contents of his third affidavit with certain persons whom the prosecution will prove.
All right, let me stop you right there, Mr. Steinberg. I had not sustained the objection. I merely say, I know what you're saying, and I had that in the back of my mind. The point I said, be careful how we proceed, keep this in mind. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honours. Succinctly then, the prosecution believes it has a reasonable objective basis for putting that proposition. Your Honours, yes, I was about to wrap it up.
Your Honour, perhaps the objection wasn't clear in that case. The point is, no evidence has been led. No evidence has been led by the prosecution that this witness has recanted because of bribes or inducements.
All right, let me stop you there, Mr. Ken, so that the point, let me spell it out. The point is this. He said what you were raising was really a point of ethics, more than forensic, really. And in the question of if the matter is one of ethics, then we may have to look at other things apart from the four corners of the record. We know that the prosecution was trying to put in certain material, and we said we overruled that cause because they had not made the disclosure to the defense. I'm not sure that that takes you to the point of solidly arguing that there was no basis at all, objectively or by inference, to put that question. Those are two separate realms of consideration.
Your Honour, that's right in part, but perhaps it was a little bit nuanced as well, and maybe I didn't express it properly. Of course it's an issue of ethics, it is. But in addition, it's an issue of fairness. We say that it's not right to impugn the credibility of a witness, never mind your own witness, in circumstances where you haven't laid a basis. The prosecution have repeated scores of times the first account was true without seeking to show it was true. It's very important. The second aspect is the prosecution said you've been bribed and you've been induced because they don't like the new account in which the witness says it was all a pack of lies because it hurts the prosecution's case. But the prosecution notably have not led evidence of the bank accounts, money transfers and M-Pesa transfers.
That you can argue at the end of the day.
Indeed, Your Honour.
But it's not, you invoked the ethical question, and that was the basis upon which the observation was made. Let's not argue the matter.
So be it, I'm grateful.
Your Honours, I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Steinberg. Witness, the prosecution has finished asking you their question. The prosecution counsel has finished asking you his questions. Now I will hand you over to the defense counsel. Who will go first? Mr. Fowle, you?
Yes, Mr. President, I'll go first.
All right.
Mr. President, kindly grant me a minute to organize myself and prepare.
Mr. Fowle, you should be prepared to go, not waste time we should always be ready to go.
But, Mr. President, I asked for only 1 minute so that I can organize myself, at least put a dais on top and get my material. So I'd be ready to go in a few seconds.
Hurry it up. See if next time we don't want to be granting you a minute.
Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Good morning.
My name is Esa Fal. I'm a member of the defense team for Honorable William Ruto, and I'll be asking you questions on behalf of his defense team. Do you understand?
Yes.
May I first remind you that you're still under oath, and therefore we expect that you would answer truthfully to questions posed to you. Do you understand?
Yes.
And please remember the guidance you were given by the President of the Court, that you listen carefully to questions asked before you answer, and in the event that you do not understand the question asked, please ask me to repeat the question. Do you understand?
Yes.
Mr. Witness, I would endeavor to do a lot of my questioning in public session. You have been provided, or you would be provided, with a defense PIS, that's the Protected Information Sheet. And in the event that you need to mention names of individuals in circumstances which you think would make you identifiable, in that case I ask you to look at the PIS sheet to see whether that name has been mentioned in the sheet. And if it is, you would or should use the pseudonym that's been assigned to that person or location. Do you understand?
Yes.
Sir, very early on in your testimony, you told the court that you provided a false account during your interview with the OTP investigators in July 2013. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, it is correct.
You also stated that the events you wrote in your diary were there to support the false account that you gave to the prosecution investigators. Is that correct?
Very correct.
You also told the court that you made the entries in the diary while you were in a foreign country during your meeting with the representatives of the Office of the Prosecutor. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
Mr. Witness, you have before this honorable court stated that the original account that you gave to the prosecution implicating Honorable William Ruto in the PEV was in fact a fabricated account. You cooked it up. Do you still maintain that evidence?
Yes, I still maintain.
Mr. Witness, what I seek to do now is to try to bring out evidence that would help the judges to assess the truthfulness of what you are saying here today. Do you understand?
Yes.
Mr. Witness, at the outset of your interview with the Office of the Prosecutor, Mr. President, I'm looking at tab 1 of the defense bundle. That is the statement the witness had given to the prosecutor. It is document KEN-OTP 0109-001. What 0019, excuse me, 0019. That is the statement you had given to the prosecution. Is that right, Mr. Witness?
Sorry, may we have the tab, please?
I said tab 1 of the defense bundle, also tab 1 of the prosecution bundle. That is the statement you had given to the prosecution, Mr. Witness. Do you recall that?
I have not seen the statement.
Could it be put up the screen, court officer?
Yes, could you please repeat the year-end number?
KEN-OTP-0109-0019.
The document is being presented to the witness.
Mr. Witness, you had been shown this document before. Do you recognize it as the statement you had given to the prosecution?
Yes.
May I take you to paragraph 18 of that statement? It is contained at page 0022 of the document.
Mr. Fowle, this is already an exhibit, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. President. Yes, it's been exhibited.
Isn't it easier for record if you merely referred to the exhibit number?
Yes, Mr. President, that would be the best thing to do. The reference is EVD-T-OTP-00132.
That's Prosecution Exhibit 132, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes, okay.
May I ask that the witness be taken to paragraph 18, please?
The witness is currently viewing the page at paragraph 18 as requested.
Thank you, court officer. Mr. Witness, you would agree with me that immediately after giving your biographical information to the prosecution investigators, you talked about having a diary in which you recorded information pertaining to the PEF. Is that right?
Sorry?
Soon after you provided your biographical information to the investigators, you straight away went to talk about having a diary in which you recorded relevant information. Is that right?
Yes, I said that I had a diary, but I didn't say that I recorded the PV things that happened during the PV.
Let me read out what is contained, what you said in the statement. And this is what it says, sir, and I quote, "I also used to have a diary from 2002 to 2008. I wrote in this diary the meetings that I attended and several other events related to the 2007 political campaign and the post-election violence. I have explained to the investigators that I have left this diary at home by mistake. I will be able to provide it to them at a later date. For this reason, I will not be precise or sure on the dates of the events that I describe in this statement, because I will like to check them first in my diary." Unquote. Mr. Witness, all I'm trying to say is
To
that
check my diary first.
I would like to check my diary first. So, Mr. Witness, what I am trying to say is that even before you started talking about what happened in the area you come from, you informed the investigators that you had a diary which contains the dates of the events you would like to talk about. Is that right?
No.
All right. We would proceed. From the outset of your interview with the Office of the Prosecutor, you wanted to make your diary as a very important element of the statement you were going to give them. Is that right?
Sorry?
At the outset of your interview with the Office of the Prosecutor, you wanted to make your diary a very important piece of the information you were going to provide them. Is that right?
Yes.
And correct me, Mr. Witness, if I am wrong. You did this because you wanted your diary to support the story that you were going to provide the Office of the Prosecutor. Is that right?
Yes.
Mr. Witness, I have examined the diaries that you provided, and I have noticed, sir, that you recorded the PEV-related events not just in one diary, but in two diaries. Is that right?
Yes, it's right.
And can you help us, Mr. Witness? What
We're in open session, Mr. President.
Mr. Witness, I put it to you that you recorded the events that occurred during 2007 and 2008 in your two diaries because you believed that by presenting two diaries containing the same events, your story would be more believable. Is that the case?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Witness, let us examine the entries that is contained in your diaries and see whether, in fact, they accord with reality, whether they are, in fact, true. Is that all right with you?
Yes.
And the first observation I would wish to make, having examined your diary, is that all the PEV-related events seem to have been written in the same handwriting. Is that right?
Yes, it is right.
And I invite your honors to, at the appropriate time, examine the two diaries. But, Mr. Witness, can you confirm that, in fact, all those events were written using the same pen? Is that right?
Yes, it is right.
I'm sorry. And, Mr. Witness, these things were written in the same pen almost at the same time. Is that right?
Yes, it is right.
Your Honor, at this point, I must rise and make one objection. Your Honor has made a certain finding relating to this witness. Now, of course, my learned friend is cross-examining, but there are certain limits in my respectful submission which should be placed upon a party cross-examining a witness who the Chamber has already made findings about, shall we say, to whom the witness is adverse and to whom he is not. And I also make the observation that in these circumstances, if my learned friend simply is going to give evidence from the bar and have the witness confirm yes, 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 the value of any evidence this witness may give will, in my submission, be extremely limited. And perhaps in those circumstances, my learned friend may be well advised to craft his questions in such a way that we might get information from the witness rather than him simply mirroring the answers of the propositions put by counsel.
Mr. President, my understanding of what I am supposed to be doing is to cross-examine the witness. This is not a defense witness. He is a prosecution witness, even though he's been declared hostile. There is no other way that I know to question the witness in cross-examination other than to ask closed and leading questions. At certain instances, I may wish to probe. But at this time, I am putting the defense case to the witness. And if the prosecution wants me to lead the witness as if I am examining him in chief, I think that would be inappropriate. But at the same time, here we have professional judges. They are able to assess the weight of whatever evidence is brought out, and therefore there should not be any prejudice to the prosecution for the defense to cross-examine the witness in the proper way. Thank you, Mr. President.
What Mr. Steinberg is saying is that he's barely hinting at that exception to the rule that, yes, the cross-examiner may or should ask leading questions. He's saying there is an exception to that rule, and there will be a point where a cross-examiner is required to ask neutral questions. We may not have got to that point yet, but it's only saying you watch it.
I stand guided by your President, but perhaps when it comes to that stage, my learned friend would be so kind enough to show us his authorities, which say that there is an exception to the rule that the cross-examining...
There is not.
But I would wish that authorities were produced, but all the same, I stand back guided by your honest decision. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, I would now move on to examine the entries that are contained in the diary and also the evidence you provided in your original account about what happened in 2007 and 2008. Are we together?
Yes.
And Mr. Witness, the first relevant entry in your diaries pertain to the primaries that took place in November 2007, and specifically you mentioned 15 December 2007. Mr. President, I'm looking at tab 2. I'm looking at tab 2. That is the second statement of the witness. It's EVD-T-OTP-00133. That is your second statement, in which you explained the entries in your diary, and the first relevant entry is the 15th of November 2007. Do you see it, Mr. Witness?
I haven't seen.
Court officer, could you kindly put it up the screen for the witness?
Yes, could you kindly indicate the ERN number of the document?
The ERN number is KEN-OTP-0109-0071, specifically at page 0074.
Page 007. Very good. Is there a paragraph in particular?
Yes, it's paragraph 19. Has the witness been shown the paragraph?
Yes, I have seen.
And you agree, Mr. Witness, that that paragraph talks about the entries you made regarding 15 November 2007?
Sorry?
That paragraph talks about an entry you made on 15 November 2007, correct?
I don't know if it is entered in the diary, the same thing.
Mr. Witness, this is the statement you had given to the prosecution, and you had earlier on confirmed that this is the statement you had given. The same entry is contained in the diary. Would you wish to see the diary, or would you just confirm that, yes, in fact, this is the statement that you gave, and that there is this 15 November entry in your diary?
Your Honours, I believe it's the 19th of November, not the 15th.
It's 15 November.
Beg your pardon, I'm looking at the wrong paragraph, my apologies.
So, Mr. Witness, what would you wish to do? Do you want to read the paragraph again, or do you want to also see the diary? This talks about 15 November 2007, there having been an ODM primary which took place in North Rift Valley. I am not mentioning any particular location. You can read it. What do you say? What do you want us to do?
Yes, I acknowledge that there were primaries in that month of November, but The exact date, I'm not sure.
Mr. Witness, in your diary, you have on that particular date noted it as the day on which ODM held its primaries. What do you say to that?
Yes, I accept that that is what I told the investigators, and that is what we filled in the diary.
I recall, Mr. Witness, you indicated earlier that in fact these diaries were filled when you were meeting the OTP investigators in that foreign country in 2013. Do you still stand by that?
Yes.
But, Mr. Witness, do you realize that there was no ODM primary on 15 November 2007? What do you say to that?
I had said that I don't know the exact date, but the primaries were there, but the date I'm not sure.
In your statement to the prosecution, specifically paragraph 19, you stated that this is my handwriting, referring to what is contained in the diary, and I quote, I made the entry on the evening of the same day. Is that statement correct?
No.
So when you stated to the prosecution that you made the entry that the 15th was the ODM primary, that was a falsehood. Is that right?
Yes.
And, Mr. Witness, I would wish to show you a particular newspaper, and then I would ask you some few questions about that. All right? Are we together?
Yes.
Can you, court officer, kindly put up the screen document KEN-D09-0038-001. This would be tab 3 of the defense binder, Mr. President. Court officer, kindly put it up the screen, please.
The document, as referred to by counsel at page 0001, is being presented to the witness.
Thank you, court officer. Mr. Witness, take a look at this document. Would you agree with me that this is the Saturday edition of the Nation newspaper?
Yes.
Would you also agree that it was published on November 17, 2007?
Yes.
Do you recall ever seeing this newspaper, Mr. Witness?
No, I don't recall.
But, Mr. Witness, do you have any reason to doubt that this is, in fact, the Nation newspaper that was published in Kenya on this date?
I don't have any reason.
And may I, Mr. Witness, you'd agree with me that the headlines talk about confusion and violence marring party nominations. Is that right? Confusion and violence mar party nominations. Is that right?
Yeah, it is right.
And may I take you to the first paragraph, is to the right-hand side of the document, and it reads, chaos, violence, delays, and claims of vote buying yesterday marred the nomination of parliamentary and civic candidates by the three main parties contesting the December 2007 general election. Do you see it?
Yes, I have seen.
Mr. Witness, I put it to you that, in fact, all the major parties, PNU, ODM, and ODMK, held their party primaries on the same day, on 16 November 2007. What do you say to that?
I don't have any objection.
I would now move on to show you another document. Court officer, kindly put up the screen. Document ERN number KEN-D09-0038-0002. That would be in tab 4 of your honors binders.
Mr. Fowl, at this point I will need to ask you, we're about to get to the morning break time. How much time do you intend to spend with this witness, so we know how we plan?
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope to spend 3 days with the witness. Today being first, I would spend hopefully Thursday and Friday with the witness.
Mr. King, Kaswan, you?
I'll require one session, Mr. President.
All right. We will take our morning break now, and Mr. Fowl, you will need to think very carefully about hoping to spend 3 days with this witness.
I would.
Court will adjourn.
All rise. We will